Welcome into a brand new episode of the Patriots Hub podcast, Victory Friday, Monday-ish thing. Alex, Barth, David Andrews, a few days after the Patriots beat the Jets on Thursday Night Football. Before we get to that, David, what a Sunday to have the Pats off and kind of watch the whole league.
Yeah, we had some good games yesterday too, and it was weird, because you've been so, I don't know, I've been so dialed in watching them.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it was kind of nice, but I don't know. You just watch the NFL, watch this team play. Like, there's not a ton of teams that scare me in the AFC, and now look, in saying that, anybody can beat anybody. It's the NFL. But you just look at teams like the Pats haven't had I would say a really bad game in a long time.
No.
Like, there's been points where it's not good throughout the game, but when I look at the overall game, I'm like, it's not bad. And like, there's things that aren't great within the team, but I see them getting better. I see certain individuals getting better. It's going to get exciting here down the stretch. We're almost in real football season.
We're watching for playoff position now instead of draft position, which is fun. You mentioned, the Patriots really haven't had a bad game. I thought this game on Thursday against the Jets, there were points where it was frustrating, but it's a Thursday night. It's divisional football. It's always a little weird. Overall, though, they stepped up. They made the plays they had to make. I know some people don't necessarily care about this kind of thing, but just as a barometer, they played a game that at points was frustrating in a tough spot against a divisional opponent. Not only did they win, they covered.
Yeah.
So they won by more than they were supposed to in a game where they maybe weren't their best for the full 60 minutes.
Look, I'm just going to say this, and this isn't we agreed to Thursday night games. I say I was not part of the union, and this was before I came into the league, but we agreed to this to increase our revenue share. It is what it is. But in saying that, Thursday night games suck. They are hard.
Right.
They are very hard on you mentally, physically. Like, you don't feel great, and you're not out there. You're almost out there trying to fake it till you make it, you got to bring your own juice, getting amped up. You really haven't practiced. It's such a weird dynamic to go through. And there's some young guys on this team that are big time players for us that this was their first time doing that, and even Drake,
right.
It was he didn't play in the Thursday night game last year. So this was his first time figuring out that preparation and how that looks. So look, overall, like you said, Thursday night games are messy. They're ones sometimes where you're like, let's just go get a win and get out of here.
Right. Survive and advance.
Yeah. Get a win and get out of here. You're not able to put a full game plan. You're not able to practice. You got guys that probably feel like crap out there. It just is what it is.
And then they come out on the first drive and they kind of look a little flat. Ultimately, they got it going and they only allowed, outside of the last garbage time drive, one other drive that went more than 10 plays. But what'd you see on that first drive specifically? What were the Jets doing up front that allowed them to run the ball the way they did?
Yeah, the biggest concerning thing I would say from that first drive was Justin Fields and his legs. They were able to make some hay in the run game. I think the Jets did a good job. I don't know anything about their offensive system, but to me, how it looks when I see teams come out like that, it's obviously probably scripted. A lot of play action, quick hitting, easy plays. And that stuff's easy to do at the start of the game, and it gets harder as the game goes on because defenses adjust and the game slows down for them. And but the big concerning thing for me all night defensively was the impact Fields made with his legs. And in saying that, you look up some of the games you got going, like Josh Allen again, and Lamar Jackson coming into town. Those are two guys that you can get a team into 3rd and 8, and that's a hard position, and they bail out. They can bail out their team. So that's something, going forward that, you would say, all right, we got to clean that part up to me. Look, defensively, people are getting frustrated with the opening scoring drives, but I think the defense is they're a top 10 defense.
Yeah.
We were talking about it. I looked it up on the way in here. Okay, I agree. Is it great your defense goes out there and gives up a touchdown? No, but if they only give up, like I said,
if that's the only touchdown they give up,
yeah,
you're in great shape.
Or if they only give up, I've always thought in the NFL, excuse me, if you can hold a team between 17 and 21 points, doesn't mean you're going to win, but you should have every opportunity.
You're in good shape.
You should have every opportunity to win that game. And there's obviously going to be outliers where, you hold teams to 10 and they score 30. Like that's what good football teams do. No matter what happens, they find ways to win.
And it's kind of been that one drive and then maybe one other drive over the course of the game somewhere, and that's what's burned them. But it's, I was saying you can't do that against good teams and win, but then like they do it against the Bucs and win, and maybe it is just an anomaly. Maybe it is just a weird thing. The bigger challenge for the defense here over the next month, just look ahead kind of quickly, something from this game. Milton Williams, sprained ankle. He's on IR. He's going to miss 4 games, not weeks, games. So he's out for both those games you mentioned, Buffalo and Baltimore. How does the defensive front, how does the defense look different without him? Who needs to step up? And what did you see on Thursday night that's maybe indicative of what they could do with him out?
Well, obviously it's a big loss. I think the first report I saw was like a couple weeks, and I was like, all right, like you can survive.
Right.
And you could still survive this. Don't get me wrong. But a couple weeks is better than 4. But, who knows if they thought it was going to be 2 to 3 weeks, like at that point, roster wise, in their mind with the position they're in right now, I would think they're thinking, all right, if we can give him 4 weeks and get as healthy as he can for what's coming forward down the tracks here soon, like we got to do that. And in the NFL, it's hard with the roster things because, you're only so many spaces. So sometimes you got to do things like that. I think that's a great thing that the NFL did was the 4-week IR because there's so many of that in those injuries during the season. Hamstring, back concussion can be 2 to 3 weeks. I went on it because I had to have thumb surgery. And so I think it's a great thing for that. That's been a newer thing toward the middle to end of my career that I think has been great. Obviously, first person you want to see step up, it's got to be Barmore. He's your other bell cow in there. The good thing is, how great Tonga's been playing. Now, obviously, they've been doing some different things, which this is going to change, where it's, on the field, they might have Landry at one DN and like Barmore or Williams on another DN. And that just gives you different challenges offensively, but it also spells guys, right? Like, or Chase on and, whoever it may be, like it
keeps everybody fresh.
Yeah. It allows, some of those guys to be, fresher. Obviously now Tonga's workload is going to go up and so is Barr and Morris. So look, it'll be a challenge. Is it like panic mode? No, I don't think so, especially with the way Tonga's been playing.
What'd you see from Barmore in this game? It felt like he took a little bit of a, I don't want to say step forward because he's been playing well, but the production was maybe there a little bit more.
Yeah, he, should have walked away with 2 sacks. He had one, and then there was another one where he beat his guy and he just didn't. I was trying to figure out what happened, if someone was on him and he couldn't get his hands off, but he just didn't wrap Fields up. But look, there's all D linemen and I think, fans and people get caught up in sacks, obviously. Like that's production. But there's a lot of there's been games where I've played in where you look at it and you're like, well, we didn't give up a sack. But then you look at the tape, you're like, man, we played terrible. And our quarterback was under distress all day. So there's a lot of different ways you can affect the quarterback other than just getting sacks.
How about on the other side of the ball? It felt like Drake only got hit 4 times in this game. Felt like he maybe had a little more freedom, a little more room to work. Did you feel like the Patriots offensive line played better, both in the run game and the pass game?
Yeah, I think so. And that's why I called into Felger and Maz on.
That was great stuff, man.
Yeah,
that was great.
I thought.
Thanks for bailing me out. I was struggling a little bit talking about Campbell. You kind of gave me.
Well, I needed you to help me back. I think you were on my team, but you didn't really help back me up.
I was trying to help you up. Sometimes when those guys get going, it's just you and Felger had a good thing going.
Yeah, well, Felger makes some good points about the arm length and never being an All-Pro, but I think putting an All-Pro label on somebody is a ridiculous. Gronk was All-Pro 4 times. That means you're the. And I think we would all agree he's the best tight end.
Yeah.
Ever, but definitely when he was playing.
Right.
Julian was never an All-Pro. Was Julian good?
Yeah, they don't give a lot of those out.
They don't. You have to be at the top 2 of your position. So And it's not like overall tackles. They do 3 left tackles. No, it's top 2 left tackles, top 2 right tackles. So to me, it's it's an unrealistic. I was never an All-Pro. I think I had a great career. Like Joe Tooney's and Joe Tooney's rookie year. Did anyone think he would be a 4-time All-Pro?
I think it's just the way the league's talked about now. There's such a discourse where either player's great or he sucks.
Yeah.
And that's not to say players who aren't great suck, but like you can be a really good player without being in that, upper 2-3 players.
Yeah.
And there's
and
you want those guys.
That's why I threw the Matt Light out there.
No,
I knew Light was only a All-Pro once. I was hoping Foger was going to be like, yeah, like he was 3-time, or whatever. But hats off, he knew.
So
what
I
he
don't
was
remember. I
talking
think
about.
after you hung up, somebody called in and said Nate Solder.
Yeah.
Who wasn't an All-Pro.
No, Nate
who also had a good career.
Nate had a great career here. Won 2 Super Bowls, went to 4. But I don't know. I thought like Will was very physical this game. He gave up 1 sack. The 1 sack he gave up was he didn't get beat. It was a miscommunication. He went to the wrong guy. Now, in saying that, when you look at it deductively, or whatever that word is I was trying to say, when everyone seems to be doing the right thing and you're not, then you kind of blame. If everyone's messed up, then there's a bigger problem. But on the one he gave up, they were in a diamond front, which means it's 5 down. Depending on how it was communicated, a lot of times the O-line is going to have the 5 down guys. Now, what made this diamond front a little differently, Quincy Williams was the down, technically defensive end. And, he's an off-the-ball linebacker. So, maybe he just didn't get the communication, wasn't communicated enough, and, that was the one. But, like, the Jets' DNs aren't, obviously now that Quinton Williams is not there, that's different inside. But, Will McDonald had like 6 sacks or whatever it was last.
No, they got some good guys. McDonald, Jermaine Johnson, like they can play.
Yeah, I think McDonald's like top 10 in sacks right now. I think he has like 7. So, like, those aren't just slaps, and nobody just has slaps out there. It's the NFL, but
above average NFL players.
I thought they did a really good job. One thing I really would like to see going forward, even depending what goes on with Austin Hooper. I had mentioned this in the pregame show because of Hooper. I thought they would use an extra O-lineman. I thought Ben Brown did a great job. He really, I like using extra linemen at times. And there's, you can do different things. Like they didn't run toward him every time. Like sometimes they put him on the backside, run weak.
They threw ones with him on the field.
Yeah. Like you can do different things. Henderson's second touchdown run, he did a great job of kind of wiping out the left side. That was the one, it's kind of gone viral. Big Mike, decleating Quincy Williams, catching him on the hip, and Henderson scores. Like, that's something I would like. I think Ben Brown has done a great job with, he played, what week was that, earlier in the year when Jared Wilson
2,
was
3,
hurt?
4, something like that.
It was
September,
early.
yeah.
I thought he did a great job in that game. Like, he's taken advantage of his opportunities. Josh saw that, and Josh probably was like, make a little star by that. So I think that's something they could use going forward to help them out in the run game.
How hard is that? Usually when they go 6 offensive linemen, it's a tackle. You see Marcus Cannon do it. Vidarian Lowe did it earlier this year. How hard is that for an interior player to do? Or is it not that different?
I think you definitely like people with a little bit more length out there because of who you're like. That's why I didn't play tackle, because me going against, Will McDonald, whose arms are 10 times longer than mine, that's not a great matchup, in both areas. I did it from the fullback position early in my career. But, it's, you usually like to use a bigger body guy. Ben Brown's 6'4", like he's a bigger guy. So, but yeah, you don't see a lot of smaller interior guys go out there.
Elsewhere on the offense, somebody you talked about when we were talking before the show that absolutely deserves credit for this game, for the last few weeks, for the season as a whole, but he's really come on. We had talked about after Kayshon Boutte got hurt, who's going to step up, who's going to be the guy that kind of makes more plays, and they need that guy. Mac Hollins has come up big and then some, did so again in this game for this team. He continues to be such a good under the radar signing. He was at the end of that first day when they spent all that money. I think we talked about it, like, all right, special teams guy will mix in a little bit on offense. He's been a
Staple.
Can I say significant part of the offense?
Yeah, what he's done for this football team, I think, having him and Diggs in that receiver room, I think has elevated the play of a lot of receivers. I think Matt Collins, what he does, run blocking has been huge for this offense. That's a key part of Josh McDaniels' offense, is having a guy that can go in there and block for us. I think he's done a great job. Did a great job last week on Henderson's big touchdown run. I just think he wasn't a guy where when we signed him, like you said, I was like, oh, special teams, he'll play, 10 plays on offense a game, spell guys,
right?
Maybe have, a certain thing they want to do with him. Like, this guy's a staple in this offense. And he makes good catches and he gets open, and like he had the one crossing route kind of over the middle. He goes up, gets that ball. Like, that was a great catch. He should have had the deep ball. That was an amazing play by that DB. I forget who that corner was, but like, I'll take my chances on that one again.
Right.
Like, the way that guy played that, like, that's just not lucky. Like, he did everything right, but if he's 1 second too late, like, that's another huge
That's one
play.
of those, like, those guys get paid too. They're going to make plays right there in the NFL for a reason.
But it was a great throw, and he was going to catch. I mean, it hit him right here.
Right.
It wasn't like he bobbled it. It was just a great play. One thing, too, I noticed on the film, they sent Matt Collins in motion one play. Hunter's playing tight end. He goes by and he like kind of hits Hunter on the ass, and I was looking at it, then watched the play, and I'm like, all right, well, Matt Collins is not coming in. He's not staying on Hunter's side. That wasn't a communication for a block. No way a communication for a route. Like, they're just out there having fun.
They're screwing around.
Yeah, they're just having like, I don't know. I enjoy seeing that because that's part of playing football.
It's a long season. You got to find ways to have fun.
And like, I just think that shows a little bit about the team. Like, they're out there together having fun. And, him and Diggs, just, I think they have brought so much to this offense. Especially from leadership side too, that can't be understated.
All right, we're like 20 minutes into this. We really haven't talked about the quarterback. And I thought this was one of his most steady games. Didn't turn the ball over. Now, the Jets have not forced a turnover on American soil this year, but he didn't turn the ball over. The big thing to me, the pocket presence, the movement, keeping his eyes up, staying a thrower even when he's moving around, protecting the football. He did a lot of good things in this game, but that was the one thing that stood out to me. You have the back-to-back plays to Diggs, the touchdown to Travion Henderson, which is Drake Maye extending the play, allowing that to happen.
Did you watch the game? Were you there? Or were you
I was there.
So I was there for the first half, and then I went home. The Amazon had this AI pocket.
Oh, okay. I saw the replays. This the pocket health or whatever. Yeah.
And it was cool. Like, it was a, whatever. I didn't think there was, guys are blocking people in the pocket's just condensing, which it does, even if it's the greatest O-line ever. Like, that's still a great pocket. But it was like going red, and I was like, that's a great pocket. But, whatever. I thought it was cool. But I think he looked very comfortable. But that's what happens when you protect your quarterback.
Right.
Like, he was not under duress much. There was a few, obviously. It's the NFL. There's going to be a few. Thought he made great decisions with the ball. The little one where he rolled out going toward like the Optum Lounge away from the lighthouse. He gets the defense to step up and just throws that little.
That's the one to Diggs.
That
just flips it to Diggs. Yeah.
Like, that's great play. And that's, he's in total command of this offense. I think when I look out there, he's confident. He like almost reminds me of like Phillip Rivers too. Like, oh, shucks.
It's a little bit of that.
Like nothing gets him down. Like, bad play happens. Oh, well, move on to the next. So he's done an amazing job, and it continues to grow for him.
And the other guy that had a big game, Travion Henderson, 3 touchdowns. On the goal line, late in the game, keeping his legs churning, catches the touchdown as well. Starting to come together for him a little bit here?
I think he's improved a lot. I think he's, some of that might be Mondre, being out, and it kind of goes to the Kyle Williams stuff. Like, he's probably gotten a lot more reps in practice over the last 3 to 4 weeks. And I just think his patience in the run game's gotten better. He kind of letting things develop. And he's one of these guys, like, not like, but you remember when Le'Veon Bell was in his heyday, like, he would like stop.
The patience. Yeah.
Now, I don't want him to see that, but like he's got a little bit of that where he can slow it down just a second, and then he can hit it so fast because he's got that
Right.
top end
He's
speed.
fast, but he knows he doesn't have to run full speed all the time.
Yeah, and I think he gets up to full speed so fast that he's still dangerous. Another area I thought there was one, they ran a mug linebacker blitz. One linebacker's in the line, he's offset to the right, and his guy's off. So center takes his, and he kind of reads around. And the big thing in the back, being back there is like you got to get up into the line to get the guy. But at the same time, you can't put your hands on the O lineman. It messes with us. And I've had young running backs, in practice come up and they put their hands on you and it messes with you. You don't know if you're getting bumped. Sometimes it throws off like your footwork. Like it's not a good deal. But he did a great job of filtering through the trash and picking up his linebacker, stoning him. Like that's another area I've seen get better, and I just think the game's slowing down for him, and you hope that's what's coming with Kyle Williams.
So I was going to say real quick on that, you've been at Josh McDaniels practice. Kyle Williams for most of the year has been the 5th receiver on the depth chart. How much time is he really getting with Drake Maye in the starting offense in practice?
You're probably not getting a lot. I don't know. I don't keep up with if they're managing guys, but like
Diggs has been limited a couple times. That's pretty much it.
Look, Wednesday is a run day. So that means you're going to run the ball. If you got a 10-play period, probably 6 of those are runs, 4 of those are passes. They're probably play actions, early down passing. Thursday, if you got a 10-play rack, 2 are runs, maybe 8 are passes, third down, more passes, or second to third down type passes. So you might have 30 reps a day. In those racks, he might get three. So that's, 9 reps. Like it's not a lot, and there's 7-on-7 different things. Like you just don't know, but that's still not real out there pressure, bullets flying. Like sometimes it just takes a little while. I'm not out on him yet. I think that's way too, we do that as a society. We do it as football fans. Like this guy's,
you got to give him some time.
Yeah, you got to give him some time. He's a young player. He's coming into a hard offense. Let's just see where it goes.
Finally, Bengals this week. This is a team that prior to Sunday couldn't stop scoring on offense, couldn't stop giving up points on defense. Now, they were recording this Monday morning. They may or may not be without Jamar Chase. I don't know if you have any good spitting stories, but you're an offensive player going into a game that I know you don't want to assume anything, but like probably going to be a shootout.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to be on you guys to light up the scoreboard. How does that week maybe hit a little different? Or does it? Do you need to kind of keep it the same?
Yeah, I think you keep it the same. You trust in your defense. Your defense has been playing good. Like, if you go into a game thinking you got to do something special to win, it's probably not going to happen. If you just go into the game, trust your preparation, do your job every play, trust what's going on around you, that's where it's going to have success. Like, I don't think you want Drake Maye going into this game being like, I got to throw for 6 touchdowns. Like, let Drake go into the game and take what's there and make the plays when they're there. And if they're not there, they're not there. And if it gets into that way, then we'll play that way. But I think it's dangerous going into a game being like, oh, we're going to have to score 50 to win this game. Like,
right.
Just go in, trust in your preparation. You got a good week, good couple days of rest here. They're probably going to work a little bit today. You're going to get a head start. That's what we would usually do. Maybe clean up the game. Mondays usually clean up the game, and then you don't start preparation to Wednesday. They're probably cleaning up the game today. And, I mean, I don't know this for a fact, but just my experience.
Right.
And then they're going to have a big scouting report tonight or this afternoon at some point. So that's really where that goes. So you're getting a head start on your preparation. You're getting some freshness, but don't think you got to go out there and do anything special. Go out there, trust your preparation, make the plays when they're there.
David and I will have more on the Jets and the Bengals on Zolak and Bertrand. Hey, you can check that. We got to wrap this up because I got to get over there before the show starts, and David will be joining us for more of these podcasts. Check out Patriots Hub Podcast and the Sports Hub YouTube channel. You can subscribe, get all of it, game recaps, previews, and more. And David will be back Sunday as well, pregame this week.
Yeah.
We'll be back then. So Till then, for David Andrews and Alex Barth, thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you next time.